All right. So again, I'm very pleased to introduce Karoly Kali, or Karesz, as many people know him. Hi, Karesz.
Hi, Scott, again. Thank you for having me again. This is already the third time I'm being with you, so looking forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate having you back. All right. Looks like our screen sharing is working well. Okay. So just quickly on Karesh, he's a quality expert that has many years of experience on the plant floor, which is why he's really so good at using our solution in the real world. And like you said, I think at the third webinar, a couple of years now, we've been working together already. Geez, we're really,
Time's fly.
really happy to, yeah, exactly. Happy to have you here today, walk through everything and show the application live. Let's look at the agenda real quick here. Um, okay, so this is what we'll cover today. We always feel it's good to kind of ground ourselves by talking about the challenges and what we're hearing from customers first, and just always staying real connected to what the realities are. But please feel free to type into the Q&A box if you're seeing different things at your plant and challenges or things like that. Always love to hear from you. And you can see the other items here on the screen. I won't read them out, but something that should be pretty interesting is we will quickly look at our completely anonymous ROI calculator on our website and share some of that anonymous data from your peers. I think that is all the housekeeping. So, Karesh, you have the floor.
Great. Thanks, Scott. So let's get into it. And yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you that you're all here. I know everybody's calendar is very busy. So the fact that you set aside this half an hour, 45 minutes, it already tells us, probably already feel the problem what we are about to talk. So here is my promise for the next half an hour. I'm going to show you how Quality AI takes the most painful manual parts of quality auditing and simply handles them for you. So that means we don't replace the human. We need the human, of course, but a lot of the task can be done by using AI. And yeah, I'm not going to show you this in using some polished videos. So I'm going to actually show it in the software. So keep in mind, everything here is live. So what happens, happens. So, okay, let's get to it. Manufacturing quality teams are under pressure. So I think you'll hear this first when we talk about people. Experienced auditors are retiring or moving on to other companies. And also what they know left on paper stays with them and lives in their head. So what we can do to address this, we'll see later on. Um, Second of all, customers are keep raising the bar. Every program is more complex, more requirement, shorter lead times. So it's also nothing gets easier. Third, there's uh this one is now with the AI and with all the hype, everybody is having a lot of ideas. So we don't have a problem in having ideas. The problem is taking the actions and making the actions possible. So that's our third problem. And fourth, we have a lot of data. So we are not short on data, but the problem is we are drowning in this data. So what we can do in order to systemize and use the collected data from all those audits. And fifth, so I've been mentioning this to be honest, but there is really a lot of hype regarding AI. And to be honest, it's really a lot of noise already, and you don't know what you can do and what you cannot do, how you can use it. A lot of companies have security policies put in place for AI, and yeah, you get also anxiety for tokens running out. So bunch of YouTubers are talking, oh, you can do this, you can do that. but actually what you can do, because Monday morning comes on the shop floor, and can you do something with AI or not actually? So that's the challenge, and that's what we were set up to do. And also that's my target for this demo, to show you practical operational, how we solve practically the operational problems, and not just some nice presentation and so on. So I'm gonna start off with, first of all, build your own agent. Yes. First of all, let's clarify um, what agent means, because this word is also being thrown a lot around. So like digitalization and so on. Also nowadays, the prompting and agents are thrown around. So think as an agent, as a digital assistant that you train on your own documents, not some generic AI that reads the internet, but really an assistant that has read your procedures, your customer requirements, your standards, your way of doing things, and it internalize them and having always available to help you with these findings. So you are uploading your standards, you are uploading your documents, and not something found on the internet, especially if we talk about automotive. So that's yeah, that's the capture of an agent. And what we have built here is we wanted to give the possibility to the user or to the company to build his own agents for his own evaluation. Because we have previously shown in the previous releases that we have built agents that we, based on the knowledge we gathered in Quality AI, we thought, okay, these are the points which an auditor or an organization would like to have receive after an audit. But of course, this was very well taken. A lot of customers really appreciated that this was a really step forward, but we really wanted to push the envelope and really give the flexibility to have the possibility that once you're up and running with doing audits, very fast you can get the information exactly how you want it. So that's our promise, and that's what basically our agents are doing. And this is very important to clarify, is the framework in which this happens. So you're not getting the typical AI slop. You're getting a very clear-lined, controlled, with guardrails system in which you can safely introduce your document and analyze the data and control whatever you want to do. You chose the model. You're not locked into any providers. You don't have to, oh, I didn't pay my subscription to Claude or to Gemini or to whatever system you are using. This is locked in, and you can use it to unlimited uses. So that's basically our first big improvement innovation, what we bring to the table on this summer release. As you know, we have two releases, and we always keep you already preparing already for the winter release. We are excited also to prepare some very cool stuff for there. But for now, we can jump to the second big improvement what we have, and these are the visual insights. The visual insights is basically connected to the problem, as you remember, maybe the fourth problem I told you, that we have too much data and we are drowning in data. So what we can do in order to have better view onto our data. And a lot of our customers were exporting or are exporting our data from the Quality AI system to different business intelligence tools like Power BI or ClickSense or whatever they are using. And having so much exports, we raised the question internally, why don't we build something directly in Quality AI that you can directly analyze your data there, and to be very flexible and easily, that you don't have to go jump with different system, because that's also creating a lot of waste of information. So this is what we did, and this is what I will show you in the live demonstration. Also, it's very easy. After you put in your information or you select and make the right filters, you can easily export this data to PDF, send it over. And I know especially management really loves this, because then you can see instantly what is happening compared to different location, different sites, different accesses to different people. So yeah, that's what's going to happen at Visual Insights. And yeah, I think I already been talking a lot. So let's have a live demonstration, because yeah, that's the whole idea, not just to show you nice slides, but also to have the possibility that you can see this and how this happens. Okay, let me share here the screen for our live demonstration. Here we go. Cool. So we are directly in the system, as you can see. For some of you are familiar, for some of you who are new here and first time attending and first time seeing this system, we have a dashboard in which we can see the upcoming audits, the different audits which are already planned. We have our task list, and as I told you, the first improvement innovation, let's say, not just improvement, I want to show you is that we have the possibility to create your own agents. But before I jump into very detail to creating an agent, I just want to show you how was this before? How does this happen before we introduce this function? So I want to look back to a previous report. Maybe I have a system audit. I have here a lot of audits, a lot of audit examples. And yeah, we can look back at the system audit. And how did this happen? It was very simple. We had our agent, our Insight Analyze agent on the top. This is still available, of course. And we have here summed up all the, like at the system audit, all the positives, all the deviations, and reformulation and so on. If we look into the report itself, so here we have questions, and even the questions were generated who are new to the system, and they don't know, even the questions were generated using our AI chat, in which we can upload any specification, any requirement, and we can ask the system to provide us different questions. In this case, I uploaded the map of the processes from the organization, and I asked them to generate me, in this case, 3 questions for each process. But what I want to show you is how the deviation works so far. So in case of a deviation, we have an agent which was again hard-coded, and this was also very cool, and it's usable. You can use our system, but again, we want to give the flexibility. So in this case, we have this non-conformity written down by the auditor, special characteristic, not traceable in a PFMA control plan inspection plan, and that's all what the auditor does. So I told you we're not replacing the auditor. We are making the auditor stronger, giving him all the necessary tools to be able to make his job. And below you can see this was our requirement to reformulate the non-conformity, to explain us why this matters, to also align it with the standards from the IATF, to say the auditors don't love this part that much, me as well. So yeah, that's the area where what we did is that it make them easier. It directly finds the primary clauses, secondary clauses. Here there are a lot of, because it's a wider non-conformity. Immediate containment action, what you should do in the next 24 hours, in the next 5 to 10 working days, what should be your actions, how you should approach this problem, so that you don't have any excuse not to do what to know what to do, how you should perform the root cause analysis, what verification, accepted criteria, how you should close these actions. So all this information was provided and hard-coded with the agent, which is very cool and it works very well. But what I want to do now is to show you what is possible actually. So we jump into the requirements. As I told you, we have here AI chat buttons, so you can upload specification, ask to create questions. We're not going to do it now. We did it also in our previous webinars. But what I'm going to create now, I'm going to create. Let's make a very simple one. Let's make a safety audit, because everyone loves safety audits nowadays. And I will create the agent. I will create everything in order to audit and see the result. So safety audit. So let's say safety audit webinar. So we can know. Let's make it according ISO 45001. We choose here the audit type. You can see here we have many audit types. So we choose the safety. We're not going to talk about audit focus. That's a different story. And here, let's say, okay, I'm going to schedule it for, or let's make it on date. We can have different possibility sequence based on risk metrics, but we're going to stick to the date. I'm going to do it today. That's fine. And yeah, it's going to take 3 minutes because we don't have that much time. And I want to do it according to my organization in plant 1. Cool. So now the magic happens. I attach a document. Here I have ISO 45001. So who knows, this is the standard for health and safety. And I also do have already written a prompt that I don't start to write here now. So what we want from the agent: you're a health and safety audit agent, evaluate the audit results against the relevant health and safety requirement, focus on identifying unsafe conditions, legal or procedural gaps, and risk to employees or visitors, classify findings by severity, explain the expected standard, describe the actual situation, and propose practical corrective and preventive actions. I was quite broad, let's say. I could be more specific, but let's go with that. I want this to be included in the beginning of the report. Okay, cool. We save it. And we publish it. And now we create also some templates. Of course, we need some questions in order to perform some audits. And here I have a requirement. So safety webinar, I create. I edit the template. So health and safety webinar questions. Cool. And I'm going to add checklist, audit. Yes, and here I have already 3 questions, which it was in our library. So you can see I can add them from my library. And if I select here health and safety, then I have this. And now I basically add them 2 times, but I'm gonna delete the ones which are double. I just wanted to show you that this is very simple to add. As based on what type of audit he already, or the agent already proposed me the actions, because there were some tags already tagged. So it's even smarter than we think. We save the template, approve and publish, and we are ready to go. So we can audit this, and let's make it even more fun. So let me do this on my phone. So you can see the functionality we get to be able to perform such audit directly from your phone. So you are able to see my phone. Scott, can you confirm this? Because I only see also only the screen of my phone.
Yep, we can see it. Just great.
Perfect. 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 So we're going to start an unscheduled audit. I'm going to find here safety audit webinar, what we created. I'm going to start it. Okay, so here we get the first question. Is the correct PPE, safety gloves, safety shoes wearing available in necessary location and their clear signal mandatory use and so on? We also have the reference from the standard. Yeah, I would say necessary improvement. What is the failure? Person is not wearing PPE equipment. Safety glasses. Containment action necessary. So you can see we can use the speech to text, so you don't need to type. You can go around the shop floor using that. Containment action, yeah, I would add the classical one because everybody loves that. Retraining of the worker. So yeah, and I would put myself responsible, and yeah, I will do it today because it's very important. So I can add photos. I can add photos from gallery. Let's take one. I see. Choose file. Ah, yeah. Let's take choose photo from photo library, not file. I can use a file, but it makes no sense. Here I have a person not wearing it. Okay. I can of course take also photos. Here I have some drawings I didn't want to take, but I can also take drawings. So doesn't matter. I have something on my desk just to show you. I can delete. You can add multiple photos. You can add multiple notes to it. If it's not clear what you wrote and you want to add some addition, you can always do that. You can navigate between the questions. So we are at the first question out of 3. I didn't want to create a huge audit now for the webinar. Our lockout tagout procedure for maintenance on power machines, clearly documented, accessible, and so on. Let's say here is all okay. I don't have any comments, or I can add note. All okay. Next, is there a documented, readily accessible system for shop floor workers to report accident, near misses, unsafe conditions? Let's say yes, it exists, and I can end the audit. So that was that fast. And I immediately have the report, so I can go and see. You can see this is my report, what I added with the picture. I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller. I can see all my findings immediately, so I don't need to go with the paper, go down. So all these functionalities, what the digital tool can give you, they are available. Okay, so we have also the audit report. Of course, he makes a calculation. I didn't specify how to calculate the score. If you specify the scoring method, then the agent will calculate according to that. But in this case, I didn't specify, so he calculated based on the standard way that there are 3 questions, one was failed. So tell me the immediate appraisal, detailed findings and severity. So exactly what I requested. Finding PP not worn at the injection molding area. This was also from previous audit. And here the person was not wearing the PP equipment, safety glasses. This was done also earlier. And also compares it with, as I said, previous audit, immediate containment action, root cause verification, finding reoccurring patterns, same issues observed earlier. Yeah, I was testing to see how this goes and how things are moving along. And context of related audits, and also finds other types of audits performed earlier in June, in May, which are having issues or everything was okay regarding health and safety, even though those audits may not be health and safety. Systematic observation, recommendation for corrective actions, verification of evidences, closure, and references from the standard. Of course, if I provide more than this, I provide the internal procedures, then of course I get more precise information and more precise data. But you get the point. it's something really new, which you can really customize the way you get the feedback, and you can imagine this across the board in different languages. So this is what I want to show you about the agent. And the second one, which I presented you, was the visual insight. So this is much simpler to present because you can you can just have it with one click. So you can see here we have multiple panels. As I told you, this is like a business intelligence tool where you can see the sites, the different areas. You can filter by different area, different plant, different location. You can select by findings, by audits, by findings, and even by corrective actions and findings. So where root cause is necessary, who is responsible, which month happened what. So all of this information are, especially, as I said, for the management, very useful because in one shot you can see multiple plans. You can dive directly deep into the problem and see where what patterns emerge. So this is the visual insights part, and yeah, let's jump back to the couple of seconds, couple of minutes to the slides, because coming from the insight analysis and the visual insights as well, the topic is always to gather data, and always comes the question, what is the benefit of this? And let me also pull this on this side. So if we have a look, Scott mentioned that we're going to talk about return of investment. So that means what real business case. So in this situation, I want to show you a really real business case of one of our customers who basically also to have seen this tool, came to some of our webinars, came to our demonstration, and he really wanted it for the organization. And he created this. He created this also to show to the management what are the benefit of having this tool and what is the return of investment. So besides having the internal quality auditing costs, so you save time, you save energy, and so on, and you can utilize this to other activities. You can decrease the external failure cost and, of course, the internal failure cost. This is an example, and in this scenario, he has a subscription fee of $8,000 plus the implementation fee. So this company's return of investment was 51 days. So went further to give you more information, because this is, you would say, oh, this is okay, one case, very nice, very cool. But we do have on our webpage an ROI calculator. So you can go on our webpage and you can input your data, your specific data, and you would get also an evaluation. And we gather these evaluations from April to June, and since we launched the ROI calculator, and so 28 companies have filled this out, and we brought you the median. So the overall evaluation, of course, they were higher return of investment, they were lower return of investment, depending on each company's specification. But as you can see on the median, on the first year ROI, it's in average 690% return on investment. So that means in average 46 days you get your money back, basically using this tool. Some companies have even below 1 month, and some companies have closer to 2 months. So, but in average, it's about 1.5, let's say 1.5 months, where we get what the companies filled out. And yeah, you can also, and we recommend that you also try. Scott, I think we're going to include this in the email, follow-up email, that you have the link if you don't know exactly where to look, but it's really when you enter on a website, it's right at the top.
We have gotten a number of questions. It looks like a couple of the two or three of the first few questions are all about the operational intelligence agent. So we'll start there.
So one question came in related, can the agents learn from our own past findings and corrective actions? Yes, they can. We can also import historical data, so historical audits, findings, and corrective actions. So the agents pick up your institutional knowledge and yeah, start spotting recurring issues. We did this also with multiple of our customers. Once you have enough data already by doing the audits with QualityAI, but you have a database of results, then it makes really sense to combine this because you will get much more benefit with also your historical data. So yes, the answer in this case is yes. Another
Perfect.
question. Yeah,
Karesz,
please.
can I stop you just
Yeah,
super quick, just in case anybody needs to drop off? Can you put the contact information up the final slide, and then
yeah,
after that we'll go on to questions. That work?
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay,
Thank you
great.
for
Thank
taking.
you.
I take also a sip of water in the meantime. So okay, so the next one. Yeah, this I think I mentioned it, but let's repeat because I see it multiple times. This question: how much work is it for our teams to get started? So yeah, that the simple answer is less what you expect. As I told you, usually our plan is to start you up in 4 sessions of 1 hour each. That's our standard and regular where everybody starts off. But lately, to be honest, we were having this new functionality with the agents. We were able to get you up and running in 2 hours, and you're doing your first audits. And also, there's another question. Okay, what type of audits usually? Usually, usually we do set up first, and that's usually LPAs. Most of the customers start with LPAs because a high frequency audit, and they can test out the different functionalities of the tool, and of course, then they pivot to system audit, product audit to test those out. Okay.
Hey, Chris, before you go on, I just want to bring up and just see if you could dig a little bit deeper there, because it always, I feel like it doesn't come across. People think software projects are these massive, multi-month, multi-year from the past, how long it would take to get things operational. And when we're talking about 2 hours, we're not talking about a one question form on a tiny little test audit. We're talking about actual real data, real audits, real things, and being able to start actually getting value in production. Correct?
Mhm. Yeah, correct. That's thank you for elaborating on that. Yeah, that's really correct. I already tend to go on the operational side and go directly because I want to be that the customer gets very fast the sees already the data. But you're absolutely correct. Sometimes we need to step one step back and explain it more in detail that it's clear. Thank you for that.
Perfect.
Yeah, another question came in. Can the Visual Insight dashboard combine the data from multiple plans? Yes, it can, and uh, that's the beauty of it because you can consolidate the data on the operation level across plants, even business units or regions of the world, depending on how big is the organization. And we can have like role-based, or we have role-based permission, so people can only see what it's appropriate for them. You don't need to give access to everybody to see all the different areas. So that's of course available. Yes, Scott, if you also want to take some
Okay.
question.
Let you catch your breath.
Yeah.
So the one that I see here, says we have CSRs from several OEMs. Can one of your AI agents account for different customer expectations? And Karesz, stop me if I'm wrong, but they definitely absolutely can. They can be configured to evaluate findings against customer specific requirements, OEM standards, and internal procedures. So it really helps ensure that the recommendations and the reporting align with the expectations of that specific customer program. Um,
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So
um, Want me to do the next one real quick, or
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I have here one in the chat again. What sort of AI do you use? So yeah, it's an AI model. Basically, it's GPT, but it's not this particular. Everything is based on the same AI model. Each company is modeling it based on their thinking and their guardrails. So it's GPT at the basis, but it's guardrailed and utilized and programmed in the way we want to have it in the secured way. So I hope I answer also that question, but more on that I can our specialist can give you more details on that.
perfect. And just Chris, just to make sure I'm correct on this, but the thing that we've been saying that I kind of like to think about it this way is that we're really model agnostic, right? We don't say you have to use this specific
Correct.
model if you want
Correct.
to use you know Anthropic, Claude, OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever, local models, things like that. So it's not something that we lock you in.
Yeah, correct. Correct. So we guardrailed it. Yeah, as I said, we said before, the servers are located in it's a cloud-based solution, as you can see, that's you log in via app, and the servers are located in Frankfurt. So we talk about Amazon servers. We went through several security audits. Some companies wanted to move on their server. That's also possible. But in the end, most or all of them decided to keep it as it is because the safety is given. And we really went through different levels of security, especially now the AI security. Yeah,
Koresh,
I think it's a follow-up question, but I see in the chat that do you offer the AI included? Of course. So that's we develop our own way. So an ROG agent, and yes, the AI is included, and that's what you're training. That's what we are helping you to train based on your documents, and that's why I'm saying that we are not specifically telling you to use any of what you have. The tool comes with AI included, so absolutely.
and to that, Koresh, just to add real quick, everything that we do, you don't pay by the token. It's not an add-on. You don't have to worry about that. You do what you want to do. Our application takes care of the token management and so on, and that's the cost that is just part of our solution. So it's not an add-on.
Right.
You pay one fee. You don't have to worry about tokens getting more expensive or any of that. That's all. That's invisible to you.
Absolutely. Okay, I think
Okay,
we went a little bit over, so we want to respect everybody's time. So if there are
perfect.
more questions, we're gonna anyway send out also and give responses to the additional questions, not Scott. So we're gonna send out and reply in writing, and everybody will get also the feedback.
Yeah. And we'll make it anonymous. So, you can ask any question. We won't put your name or your company down. If you want to email Koresh here or, you know, connect on LinkedIn, anything like that, just any question you have, we'd be happy to answer it and love to connect with you. So really appreciate your time and taking the time today with us. And we'll see you next time.